The teaching today, I'm going to teach you about my octave resonance healing approach. So this is on my website, but so I guess you need to see my face here. I recently put out a blog called Using Body Movement to Enhance Distance Healing, and I got a lot of really, really wonderful feedback on that. So if you haven't read it, I think it's better than some of the others that I've been writing. It talked about how important the physical body is. So this is like the physical body. This is the octave of life force, or another word. I got this fourfold approach from Rudolf Steiner, and he got it from not Pythagoras, but somebody else whose name starts with a P. So it's not like, it's like a Western esoteric way to organize life. It doesn't, it's a picture, it's an art, it's a analogy, it's a metaphor, okay? So it's not like the way it is, but it's a very useful metaphor that explains the dynamic quality of bringing heaven, which is the spiritual, down to earth. And I would say that any method that doesn't have movement in it, any structure, any form that doesn't involve this movement in some way or shape or form, is fixed and not as effective as something that helps you understand the movement between things. So we have the spiritual octave. This is like our octave of self-awareness. We can actually witness our own emotions. We can witness our feelings. We can witness how our bodies feel. We can feel, energetic. We can feel asleep. We can do all that from this level of the spiritual. Then there's another level of our consciousness, which is emotions and images. Or I should call it images and emotions. Images are almost spiritual, and emotions are almost etheric, or because images are out of time and emotions are in time. So it's like coming down, incarnating. All right, and we all have emotional bodies, we all have emotions, and we share that with animals, which is why I have a little picture of a dog right there. Little happy dog. Because we share these animals also have emotions and images. And then we have the octave of life force, which we share with the plant world. And plants respond to images, and they respond to spiritual things, but they don't express it like dogs do or cats, and they don't express it the way humans do. So it's just a little different relationship to the astral and the spiritual if you're just a plant. And we contain plant-like aspects inside us. This would be the difference between a corpse, which might be our physical body, and a sleeping body. You can tell the difference when something's alive and when it's dead. When I'm decorating my house, people want to give me plastic flowers, and then they look so beautiful, but they're not alive. And I say, oh, that's how it starts. You start bringing in dead things and only working on the images, and he's only working on the physical, and you start losing the conduit. That's another topic. And then we have the physical, and the physical we share with rocks and minerals. So I have a picture of some rocks there. And this is explained in more detail on my website, spiritgate.com. But for the purposes of today's healing, we're going to do a distance healing, a group distance healing. So you would say that the group is spiritual, because it's sort of an idea, right? I mean, we're doing it, but we're not. It's more spiritual. We're not really connecting emotion. It's an idea. An idea is a spiritual deed. It's not an emotional deed. So just doing, and spiritual does not mean religious. It doesn't necessarily mean a set philosophy. This is just a certain metaphor. So just by coming here and saying that we want to be healed or help heal others, that's a spiritual deed. The next level down is emotions and images. So right now I'd like you to open your heart to the possibility of either being healed or helping others heal, or both. It's kind of nice to do both. And let your emotions be involved. And also, right now, feel a baseline. Just notice the emotional weather in your room. Maybe you're feeling kind of, like I'm feeling kind of equanimous right now, and don't feel much. So I'm kind of generating a feeling of excitement. Like, oh yeah, people are listening to me, and people are listening later, and that's pretty cool, and I'm grateful for that. So I'm generating some emotion. So you generate emotion for why you are here. I would say the meaning of why you're here is spiritual, but the emotional link you have to it is in this octave. And now another, what Rudolf Steiner called this octave is the astral, and that means different things to different people, so I'm defining it. And it just means emotions and images. It's not spooky, right? You don't have to be spooked by that word, but in case you're familiar with that, that might help. All right, then now what do these other lower octaves are more physical. You can feel them. You can tell we're just getting down into the physical. So right now I'd like you to feel your life force. Just breathe, because if you're alive you can usually breathe. And just be very aware of your life force. And then be aware of your physical body. All right. And feel how your physical body has all these things streaming into it. You're alive, you have emotions, you have meaning and purpose for being here. And feel how your physical body is a container for that. All right. And notice if when you include the spiritual, the astral, the etheric, your self-awareness, your emotions, and your life force in your experience of your physical body, you're not just like a head thinking about your body. So just being a head thinking about your body sometimes creates a big disconnect because you leave out these other two. And sometimes when we're trying to be very scientific and accurate, we go into our minds and we don't. And then we wonder why things don't work on the physical. So this is just it's a model, all right? All right, so now, why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you this because I need your help. I have some very amazing people that need healing here, and you're going to help me. This is a group healing, right? So part of the group healing happens just because you're here, you're attending, and thank you for attending. So if this is all too philosophic and complicated, just hang in there. We'll get to the healing very soon. But if you can do the spinning exercise and follow the visualization that I'm going to show you in a minute, then please do, because that will bring it down a little more. The idea that there's healing available for people, that their true nature exists, that doesn't have cancer, for animals too, we're doing people and animals. If we do if we do them as a group, there's a certain group connection that happens. And when we do a group visualization, that brings just this idea like, oh, I want to do a distance healing, down into something that's a little more connected to actual physical healing, which is what we're trying to do. All right, now the next step is just to notice how you're feeling in your body. Notice if you get less tired or more tired. Notice if you feel cool or hot. Notice all those things, the living, changing things. And then the physical is if your tumor cools down, or if it goes away, or just something like you could take with a CAT scan or a PET scan, or some sort of measurable thing that a robot could measure. Not that robots can't measure some of these things, but it's more fundamental. Please share that on the Facebook group. All right. But usually for distance healing, we're mostly up here. And then a way to ground it and get it into the physical is to be aware of your life force, at least touching awareness of it. Maybe it's hard to be aware of it the whole time, but just sort of circle back to it. So in today's guided visualization, I'm going to say, okay, be aware of your life force. I'm going to say that periodically throughout the thing, and that's what I mean, is just bring heaven down to earth and feel it connecting, and feel your body holding the life force, your life force. Okay, you don't have to hold everybody else's life force, just your own. And then by resonance, everybody else will be able to bring their heaven down to their earth. and bring their idea of healing down into their body. All right. Are these octaves that we can hear either on the physical or internal level? Yes and no. On the internal, yes. On the physical, no. The reason I call it octave is because the law of the octave is the very same frequency, just doubled. And those of you who know the Bengston Method know that one of the ways he teaches it, he says double it, double it, double, double, double. And I go, oh, he's going up octaves in frequency. And as a sound healer, I work with octaves. That's a foundational part of being a sound healer. So I use these tuning forks, and I have octaves of like these two forks are octaves of the same note. So one is actually half of the other. The reason I perceive things as holographic. So even though I don't think you can have something physical that isn't also spiritual and also astral and also etheric, I think they're so embedded that our consciousness separates them, but they're actually together. And so in my octave resonance healing approach, what I'm doing when I'm healing is I'm noticing where my awareness goes to, because I know if I change something on any one of these levels, all the levels shift. So yes, so physical might be taking my vitamins, the food might be like eating really great food or exercising. Everybody knows that exercise affects your spirit, it also affects your body, right? It's a system. And this is a way to think of movement. And the octave, the image of the octave is because of as above, so below. If it's in the spiritual, it's also in the physical. If it's in the etheric, it's also in the astral, and so forth. It's all everywhere. And wherever we see it is often where we have access to it. And then we can link it to the other levels. All right. So my hope is that by linking our healing today to the life force, we're going to get it down into the physical more as healers as we join on this group. Your graphic is so helpful to understanding this. Okay, good. And again, this is explained in several paragraphs on my website under services and then octave resonance healing. Or you can just search for octave resonance healing and find it. Okay. And maybe I'll put it in the Facebook group. I'll PDF this and put it in the Facebook group. Okie dokie. All right. So if you're watching this on YouTube, we're going to stop the YouTube recording, and then we're going to go right into the actual healing. So thank you all for being part of the Spirit Gate Cancer Support Facebook group.